This is Mark Bell, SuperTraining Gym, the strongest gym in the West. And today we're going to talk about some events that happened just recently. You know, sometimes a lot of the things that happen in strength training, a lot of the things that we talk about here at SuperTraining Gym and on Mark Bell's PowerCast, a lot of the stuff is extremely positive. We're trying to spit out positivity and keep things as positive as we can and keep things really just moving forward. But life happens, and you know, that's just the way things go sometimes, is that things end up being sad, things end up being negative, things end up being hurtful, things end up being tragic. And what we're dealing with recently are, you know, two big tragedies in losing Rich Piana and Dallas McCarver. I just want to touch upon that subject a little bit. As you guys know, I've been bigger, stronger, faster since the age of 25. So my usage of performance-enhancing drugs has been out there for a long time. One of the only other people that ever really joined me in my efforts to explain to people what's happening, explain to people the truth. I don't outwardly talk about steroids all day long or anything, and I haven't done a lot of videos the way that Rich did, but I did talk about it in the movie Bigger, Stronger, Faster. I first of all want to say that I admire both men a lot. I admire Rich Piana being frank and being direct with people. I mean, how can you not love a guy who talks about whether your dick is longer than your balls or your balls are longer? I mean, just like, who even thinks of shit like that? But also like the fact he didn't take himself too seriously in a lot of videos. You've seen the video with Furious Pete where he eats ice cream. They're down in that Ben and Jerry's and they're going back and forth. And actually, man, he hung pretty tough. I competed against Furious Pete in an eating contest, and I did not do well by any means, but Rich Piana hung in there tough. Rich is somebody I've known for the last several years, not good friends or anything by any means. We did know each other. We did have mutual respect for each other. When I saw him a few years ago, or actually I think it was just maybe at this year's Arnold Classic, stopped, talked to him. He was excited to see me because we haven't seen each other in a little bit. And he was like, hey man, we should definitely do something together. He's all fired up and he wanted to do something. He was very full of life and very excited about the different things that were coming up. But what I wanted to talk about a little bit is, you know, the way that Rich died and the way that Dallas McCarver died, they're different. They're very different things. I will just strictly talk about what I've heard and what has been flying around. And in no way is this fact, and in no way is this meant to hurt anybody in any sort of fashion or any sort of way. What I've heard that Rich Piana was doing was snorting Oxycontin. What I heard about Dallas McCarver was that he choked on food and could no longer breathe, and that was that. The fact is, though, that both guys are dead. Both guys are gone, not here anymore. And so I think while it would be great to try to learn why they died and how they died, so somebody like myself that makes that choice to choose performance-enhancing drugs could learn and maybe not make the same mistake, odds of us ever really finding out probably aren't good. We probably would never know. People are very sensitive. They don't like to talk about people that have passed on in that fashion. Even with my own brother, who passed away years ago, I still don't really know how he died exactly. He just, for some reason, it gets swept under the rug and you don't really hear much about it. There's some speculation, there's some evidence of this and that, but we don't really truly know. But what I wanted to say on this subject is sometimes I think people are thinking in terms of like, people can be really rough at times like this, and you can be like, oh, those guys were playing with fire. They got what they deserved, or this or that. Well, I understand what you're talking about. I understand why you would make a statement like that, but just try to think about it in these terms. Maybe you have a strong association with food, and maybe you're diagnosed with diabetes, or maybe it's not you. Maybe it's your lovely grandmother or a loving family member that just has an association with food that they have a really hard time stopping. The foods that they eat, they make them feel good. Maybe they have some great connection to their childhood when that ice cream truck would come by and they like have an ice cream sandwich or whatever it might be. When they get diagnosed as diabetic, they can't stop themselves. It's all the way to the point where a doctor will say, hey look, you could possibly lose your foot if you don't stop eating sugar. Every time you have sugar, it is killing you. Somebody can make the same argument and kind of apply it to bodybuilding and say, hey, look, every time you're dumping that shit into your body, you're hurting yourself. Now, that's awesome information to have. We don't really know. We don't really have people necessarily that are getting reported as dying from steroids. Now, on the flip side of that, I will say, firsthand experience, steroids probably do not help you live longer. They probably speed up the process of you dying in some ways, because we know some of the risks of cardiovascular health and some of the negative things that they can do. Now, however, having low testosterone levels is not healthy either. Having high estrogen levels can be associated with all kinds of other medical problems. So I guess my point is that you love something and you're really connected to it, like grandma and her food, or Rich Piana, Dallas McCarver, myself. If you're really connected to the weights and you're connected to how it feels and you're connected to going to the gym and getting a pump and going to the gym and feeling stronger, then it might be very difficult to stop those things that are helping you get some of those results. A lot of people are going to always look at steroids as cheating, and a lot of people are always going to have their certain vantage point, and I think that's totally fine. You know, we're not going to, there's not going to be an argument that's going to be won there. For years and years and years, I spent a good over a decade of training without utilizing anything, and taking steroids to me wasn't necessarily like a shortcut. I just wanted to be bigger. For me, for my genetic potential, I was not going to really grow any larger than I was. I could always stay between 210 and 220 pounds without using, and with using, I knew that would put me up to 250 or so, and so I wanted to take some stuff. For Dallas McCarver, who competed as a professional bodybuilder, and for Rich Piana, who took his bodybuilding career very far as well, it's part of bodybuilding. Steroids are a huge part of bodybuilding. If you're a professional bodybuilder, you're on steroids. If you are a professional strongman athlete, I'm not trying to out people. Hopefully this isn't even new information for a lot of people. If you're a professional strongman athlete, then likelihood of you using stuff is definitely very high. On the flip side of all that is the fact that we have a lot of people, especially in today's industry, we have a large rise of the natural athlete, Natty, and we have a large rise of people like Omar Isuf's YouTube channel, and just natural people wanting to get information from other lifters that are natural, but also occasionally making the mistake of, fuck, Mark Bell, he's talking about how to deadlift. I don't want to hear anything from him because he takes shit. Well, let's not dismiss some of the information, and let's not forget the fact the best information always comes from the most extreme shit. And a lot of the best inventions and innovations come from the most extreme things. A lot of the things that you use on a daily basis that are being utilized in race cars and things like that are now implemented into your own car for your own safety, because those are very extreme situations that they need to take extreme measures, and then therefore they divvy it out to the general public as needed for certain things. Same thing happens with bodybuilding. Whether it's a low-carb diet, whether it's intermittent fasting, just whatever these different diets are that are coming out, high protein, all these different things, guess what? They've been in the bodybuilding community forever. The diet that Arnold Schwarzenegger used to win 6 Mr. Olympias is not going to be any different than what Phil Heath is using to win 7 or 8 Mr. Olympias. The drugs have changed, the science has changed, some of these things have changed, but a lot of the best information is coming from the most extreme versions of our sport, the most extreme versions of powerlifting, bodybuilding, and strongman. Let's not forget, let's basically take a lot of the things that we're learning from these different athletes, and let's utilize this information to move forward. When we're talking about Rich Piana and we're talking about Dallas McCarver, we can remember the fact that they did die in some different ways, but let's also try to just think about the ways that they lived. Anybody who's close to them, my advice to you is to just try your best. Any characteristics that those guys had that you loved, that you cared about, Try to have them live on in yourself and share their message with people. And that's really all you can do. When people are gone, you can't bring them back. I've never deleted my brother's number from my phone because I just can't. Like, I, for some reason, think that I can make a phone call to him. If I'm watching pro wrestling, a lot of times I'm like, I grab my phone and I want to just fucking call him because we used to talk about it. But when someone's gone, they're gone. And so let's just try to remember some of the ways that these guys lived. I wish we had more information to know about how they passed on. I do think it's important that you guys voice your opinion and that you guys express your opinions, but also let's just be a little bit respectful. We don't have to sweep it under the rug and be like, oh man, you know, those were beautiful people and they died. It's okay to talk about how anabolic steroids could have led to a lot of these things. You guys are following along with this channel. You guys seen me getting my blood work done. Well, me getting my blood work done and trying to take control of my health still isn't a guarantee that I'm not going to die any faster than somebody else. Life is a risk each and every single day. And if you want to be a professional and you want to try to take shit to the next level, then your life is more stressful. When we come into the gym and we train hard and we put our heart and soul into everything that we're doing, guess what we're doing? We're creating more stress. So people will be like, oh, lifting is a stress reliever. Not really. It actually is going to cause a lot more stress and causing tons of damage to your body. Of course, a lot of it is positive because we want to gain more muscle, but are we taking it too far? Are you guys taking it too far? You natural guys that are doing 10 sets of 2 and 5 sets of 5 and training while your back's hurt. Well, how smart is it to train while your back's hurt? How smart is it to make some of these decisions that you're making on a daily basis, which is really just breaking yourself down further? You know better. You already know better. Maybe Rich Piana knew better. Maybe he knew Oxycontin was dangerous. Maybe Dallas McCarver knows that steroids are dangerous. Maybe you guys know that when your knee is inflamed and swollen, that's not a smart idea to go in there and squat. Maybe I'm aware of some of the dangers of steroids, but I don't want to stop them because I want to just keep training. And it's not because I'm a fucking meathead. It's not because I'm a knucklehead. It's because I found something that I love to do. Find something that you love to do and let it fucking kill you. Strength is never a weakness. I'm out of here.